A very good morning, everyone. I welcome all the enthusiastic Mahābhārata learners to the webinar, the sixth one of the Mahābhārata webinar series. Let's have a fruitful time together in the webinar. Let's start the session with a prayer. Yāyāmo tavanāvavim ganavadi tejomayi naishtagi snigdhābhāṅgavilomini mandasmita shrimuti Valsalyamrtavashinim sumaduram sankirtanālāpini Shyamāṅgīm madhusiktasukam amrudanantatmikām Ishvari Om Amriteshwari Om Amriteshwari Om Amriteshwari Namaskar. Let me begin by introducing you to our team. We are Amrita Darshanam, International Center for Spiritual Studies, Amrita University. The center is focused on study and research of Indian philosophy, culture, arts, literature, and society. It is also our goal to spread the wisdom of Indian culture to the whole world. This webinar and the Mahābhārata Upanayana course is part of this collective vision. We are constantly guided by Chancellor Amma Sadguru Sri Mata Amritandamayi Devi. The course is intended as a comprehensive introduction into Mahābhārata. It really is an Upanayana, which means initiation, for those who want to take the lifelong journey into Mahābhārata. Each module in this course extends a unique perspective on the Itihasa and what it has to offer. The webinar series comes as an appetizer to this course.
During the great Kurukshetra war, the power icon Bhimasena was pushed down by an old king named Bhagadatta. Everybody who witnessed this thought that Bhima got killed. Have you ever heard this incident before? Did you know that Vishnu Sahasranama Stuti has its origin from Mahābhārata? Then there is a butcher who imparted the supreme knowledge of Atman to a Brahman ascetic, Vyadhagita. Have you ever heard of these stories from Mahābhārata? Well, Mahābhārata is not just a family feud, as some would suggest. It is the story of a civilization. It has history. It has deep philosophical expositions. It has metaphors and tropes. It has political and strategical insights. It has art and it has charm. All the more, it has the practical wisdom to steer our lives in the right direction, guide our lives to the highest truth which all the Vedas extol. Amrita Darshanam, International Center for Spiritual Studies of Amrita University, welcomes you all to a 6-week certificate program on this grand Itihasa, Mahābhārata Upanayanam. Get initiated into this ocean of knowledge.
I consider it my privilege to welcome Sri Manish Rajan Walvekar, who serves as the Assistant Professor and Center Coordinator in the Amrita Darshanam, Bangalore campus. I request Mr. Akshay Mohan to formally introduce and welcome our speaker.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Namaskar all. I'm extremely happy for being given this opportunity to introduce today's speaker to all of you. Today, we have a very special speaker with us for our 6th webinar in our Mahābhārata webinar series. Special because he is one among us from the Amrita fraternity. Manish Rajan Walvekar serves as Assistant Professor and Center Coordinator in the Amrita Darshanam International Center for Spiritual Studies, Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, Bangalore. His research interests are Paninian Sanskrit grammar and cultural symbolism. He obtained his MA in Sanskrit and lexicography from Deccan College, Pune, and another MA in Indology from Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapith, Pune. He has published several academic articles in the reputed national, international journals and international conference proceedings. He has delivered several invited talks at state and national levels. He is one of the chief editors of Samvada, the yearly magazine of Department of Sanskrit, Ram Narayan Ruya College, Mumbai. He also authored a book, Mahābhārata, Cultural Index. So, without more elaboration, let me use this wonderful opportunity to welcome Mr. Manish Rajan Walvekar. Welcome, sir. Now I hand over the session to you, Manish, sir. Please enlighten us with your thoughts on the topic, Śalya-Parvan, a prelude to a new war.
Om Amriteshwarya Namaha. Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanan Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. This is the beginning verse of the Mahābhārata. So my humble thanks to the organizers. Of course, I am also part of this Amrita family, but I thank Surajji and his team, Akshayji, Baluji, and other members of this Amrita Ahead for considering me capable to deliver a session in such an esteemed university like Amrita, which is the #1 private university, and it has also got the IOE status by UGC. So I feel this is a very privileged opportunity for me. So today's talk is Śalya-Parvan, a prelude to a new war. So this title itself quite clumsy. Some of my friends are also attending the this webinar. They asked me that Śalya-Parvan is coming at the end of the battle, Parvan, and why are you saying that it's a prelude to a new war? So let me just have a brief technical introduction to this Parvan. This is the 9th Parvan in the Mahābhārata, as several people, I think, it is said that it is not required to tell the entire story of Ramayana and Mahābhārata to Indians, because we know the story of Ramayana and Mahābhārata, but still some technical details are of course required to begin a session for the grounding the content. There are total 18 Parvans, means of 18 chapters in the Mahābhārata. Śalya-Parvan is the 9th chapter of the Mahābhārata. It is the last battle Parvan. As you also watched a video where that respected faculty was informing us that Mahābhārata is beyond the feuds, it's beyond the battle. So the actual battle comes in only 4 Parvans of the Mahābhārata. So you consider 18 Parvans, out of 18, only 4 Parvans they deal with the battle. So they are Bhishma Parva, the 6th Parvan, where our great Bhagavad Gita also comes. After Bhishma Parvan, we have Drona Parvan, 7th one, then Karna Parvan, 8th one, and Śalya-Parvan, 9th one. So this is the 9th and last battle Parvan. Here the battle ends, but still it's a prelude to a new war. In this Parvan, there are 64 chapters, and they have been divided into 4 Upaparas, means what? 4 sub-chapters. What are they? First is Śalya-Vadha Parvan, Radha Pravesha Parvan, Tirtha Yatra Parvan, and Gada Yuddha Parvan. So these 4 sub-chapters are there. Total verses in the Mahābhārata. So I am here considering the most authentic edition of the Mahābhārata prepared by Dr. V.S. Sankar by the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, Pune. So that is considered as the critical edition of the Mahābhārata, and this edition is very much respected in the academia. So there are total 3305 verses in this Śalya-Parvan. So if we consider Mahābhārata as Shata Sahasri Samhita, means what? It contains almost 1 lakh verses. So this Śalya-Parvan shares only 3.3% share of this Mahābhārata. It is such a tiny Parva, but very important to us. So I will just exit the sharing and I will come back to our Zoom window. So this was the technical information of this Parvan. So if we consider the place of the Śalya-Parvan, So this is at the exact mid of the Mahabharata. Exact mid of the Mahabharata. So you can say also Sauptika Parva can also be the mid of Mahabharata, which is coming after this Śalya-Parvan, but somehow it is exact the mid, and this is what the Vyasa's genius. Because Śalya-Parvan is kind of ending one era of the Mahabharata, that segment, and it is beginning a new era. Because Mahabharata is not mere battles. It is more. It is beyond battles. And the output of the entire discussions in the Mahabharata and the focal point was war. Of course, war is important. The focal point is war. Everything happens around the war. So it's kind of, and everything is encircled by the war, or war is at the central point of the entire discussions in the Mahabharata. That's why Śalya-Parvan enjoys a special place in the Mahabharata. The beginning of the Śalya-Parva is, of course, the entire Mahabharata is a box within box structure. Means the initial conversation is between Janmejaya and Vaishampayana. Then Janmejaya asks to Vaishampayana, what happened, Guruji? Then Vaishampayana says, this happened. Then Vaishampayana quotes somebody's dialogue. Then somebody quotes somebody's dialogue. And then, I'm so sorry, my throat is not well today. So somebody quotes somebody's dialogue, somebody quotes somebody, and this kind of box within the box structure are seen in the Mahabharata. So the very beginning of this Mahabharata is by Janmejaya. He asks a question, of course, to Vaishampayana. Evam nipatite karne samare savyasachina alpavashishtaha kuravaha kima kurvata vaidvija. O Dvija, after the defeat, because of course before the Śalya-Parvan, Karna gets defeated or he gets killed. And who kills Karna? Everybody knows, Arjuna. So Janmejaya is asking that after the assassination of Karna, what happened in the battlefield? And the word Alpavashishtaha Kuravaha, it is itself, it's very explanatory. That very handful of Kauravas, what did they do? And when we go to watch a movie, first what we do, we watch the trailer. Correct? We search on YouTube and we watch a trailer. So in the Mahabharata, almost every Parvan, especially the battle Parvan, they have that kind of trailer at the beginning of every Parvan. So at the beginning only, we are getting the entire timeline of the Śalya-Parvan. What is the timeline? Then now Duryodhana is going to coronate Śalya as the next commander-chief of Kaurava's army. Then Śalya gets killed. Then Duryodhana is defeated by Bhima, and so on and so forth. So the basic storyline, basic timeline is coming at the very beginning of Mahabharata. And it is very much obvious, and it has also been stated at the very beginning of this Parvan, that Kaurav Sena will be totally wiped out of all traces. It will be fully routed off by the Pandava army, because now the war is about to reach its end. And the lamenting of Dhritarashtra, Gandhari. Dhritarashtra is very, very mournful in this Parvan. He is saying with great pain, Ehi putra Rajendra mama nathasya sampratam. Oh Rajendra, oh my Duryodhana, please come to me. Without you, how can I attain moksha, and so on and so forth. And after this trailer, Sanjaya, he explains this entire story to Dhritarashtra in detail. Again, the box within the box. That is, Vaishampayana is quoting what Sanjay is saying. And then the actual yuddha-vrittanta, the battle description starts. There is also the mention of the day that Adya Sapta Dashahani. Today is the 17th day. So the story starts from the 17th day of the war. So at the very beginning, Krupa, he advises Duryodhana, like Nashta Chandra Yatha Ratri, Seneyam Hatanayaka. Like this, your army, or Duryodhana, your army is totally defeated. Is totally defeated. How? Nashta Chandra Yatha Ratri. That there is no moon in the, or there is no, there are no stars in the night. Just like that, your army is there. So now you should have a treaty, a peace treaty with Pandavas. But Duryodhana, as we all know, he is fully having his vanity, so he discounts, he turns down the Kripa's advice that I don't want to have any peace treaty. Even if Duryodhana is very swabhimani, he is having his ego, but still he knows the fact. He knows that how Pandavas will forget me. And he lists all the incidents right from the Lakshagruha, Varanavata, where he also tried to burn Pandavas alive. So he Draupadi Vastraharana, all these things he quotes there, and he says that after this, how can we expect that Pandavas, they will forgive us and they will have the pre-peace treaty? So he says, whatever happens, even if I get killed in the war, I will fight and I will sacrifice my life. And he knows the power of Arjuna and Krishna. And very beautiful line comes there. Eka prana ubhau Krishnau anyonyam pratisauhatau. See, the epithet Krishna is not only coming for Krishna, but it is also coming for Arjuna in the Mahābhārata. So, Eka prana ubhau Krishna, both Krishnas, like Arjuna and Krishna, they're Eka prana. They are having one life but two different bodies. So, such kind of devotee and the worshipper relation, devotee and God relation is there, and it is very difficult to defeat them. But still, I will fight till the end. And he says in the Adhyaya 5 of the Śalya-Parvan, Sena Patyena Varye Twamaham Matulatulam. He coronated Shalya as the next commander-in-chief of the Shalya army. And Shalya is also very confident. Very confident. We also see, I'm so sorry. We will also see the description of Shalya's army, Shalya's character in our further discussion. But he's saying, Yavaitau Krishnau Rathastha Rathistau Rathanamvarau Na me Tullau Ubhau Etau Bahuvirya Kathanchana. He's saying that these two Krishnas, oh fine, let them be very great. Let them have great prowess. But I am also very much powerful, and I won't lie down my neck in front of them. I will fight till the end. This is how the beginning of or the initial chapters of the Śalya-Parvan. Then we will start with actual battle. See, one disclaimer I would like to give, that it is difficult to tell in a lecture each and every detail of the chapter, detail of the battle. So we will just have a glance at it, the major incidents, what exactly happened at the battlefield, and then the last Gada Yuddha-Paravn is extremely beautiful, it's extremely vibrant, dynamic, and we all would love to discuss that Gada Yuddha-Paravn. So the war techniques like Sankula Yuddha are introduced in this right from the Adhyaya 7. Like Sankula Yuddha means what? How they are fighting in groups, that they are not fighting man against man. Like suppose I am fighting, so Yudhishthira is fighting, so he is standing in the mid, so the left wheel of the chariot will be protected by X, Y right wheel will be protected by Y candidate, Y warrior, and so on and so forth. Somebody will stay at this point, somebody will stay at that point. So such kind of Sankula Yuddhas, the group war tactics are also seen in the Mahābhārata, not only from Kaurava side, but also from the Pandava side, and also descriptions of the troops, like Rathanam Shat Sahasrani, Shat Sahasrashcha Kunjaraha, Dasha Chashva Sahasrani, Patti Koti cha Bharata, like there are 6,000 chariots, 6,000 elephants, 10,000 horses, and millions or billions of Patti Koti, means what the actual army men are there, and descriptions of the kind of the troops. And at the very beginning in the Adhyaya 11, we have Shalya and Bhima Yuddha. See, we should not, what do we say, demean anybody's prowess. Never, never, never. Because Shalya and Bhima, they both are equally capable. That's why Sanjay is saying, Nahi madradhipadanyo ramadva yadunandana sorup utsahate vegam Bhima senasya sanyuge tada tatha madradhipasyapi gada vegam mahatmanah Sodhu utsahate nanyo yodho yudhi brukodarat. That both Madradhipa means what? The king of Madras, that is Shalya, and Bhima, okay, they are so competent to each other that except them, nobody is able to, what should I say, nobody is able to compete each other. So nobody is there in the world except them to bear each other's prowess. But finally, Bhima defeats, not defeats, but he hurts Shalya. So Krupa takes Shalya and he goes away. But again, Shalya comes back after taking Samrat and again he starts Yuddha. And Shalya is from the beginning, Bhima's one except one Bhima's one distraction, Shalya is constantly fighting against Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja. And Dharmaraja is also fighting like anything with Shalya. And after looking at the prowess, after looking at the attack, the staunch attack of Shalya, Yudhishthira is asking a question to himself that katham nu na bhave satyam tan madhavo vacho mahat. Like Madhava, Krishna has already told before some days that whatever happens, Pandavas will win the war. But after looking at Shalya's prowess, he questioned Krishna's Bhavishyavani, Krishna's speculation that Pandavas, whether they are really going to win or not. This is what the power of Shalya. See, usually, Yudhishthira's character, usually like be it Adi Parva, especially the Aranya Parva of the Mahābhārata, like he is very much philosophical, very spiritual. Every time he discusses about the dharma, about the tattvajnana, about the satya, about the asatya, and entire this thing. In the Aranya Parva, Draupadi is complaining this to Satyabhama that I'm fed up of this Duryodhana. This is all such kind of dharma kind of talking. Such kind of character of Yudhishthira is there in our mind fixed. That was also called as Dharmaraja. But in this Parvan, for the first time, we are seeing Yudhishthira as the king. Like he's fighting like the king. And he came, he saw, he fought, and he won. You will be surprised that the Shalya, that the last commander-in-chief of Kaurava's army during the Mahābhārata war, was killed by Yudhishthira. So that kind of attack, that kind of prowess Yudhishthira exhibited. And in all such things, when these things were happening, where was Arjuna? He was fighting with Ashwathama somewhere else. But of course, let us not deal with those kind of small details. And Satyaki, Shikhandi, Kritavarma, they all were fighting there. So there are Sankula Yuddhas, sometimes man against man, sometimes Sankula war, they were happening. And Tatra Abhutam Apashyama Madra Rajasya Paurusham. So now I've told this several times that Shalya, he was exhibiting his power, he's exhibiting his war skills like anything. But let us dwell on Shalya's character a bit. See, according to me, Mahābhārata is such a time-tested text that for so many centuries, the Indians or the people are studying this text, but every time you're having new interpretation. This is what my humble interpretation is, that Shalya was the best commander-in-chief and the most loyal commander-in-chief of Kaurava's army. See, he had given a promise to Yudhishthira that I will do Tejo Bhanga, I will put down Karna's confidence. This is what the vachana he gave to Yudhishthira. Only one. But he did that only once in the Karna Parva. That's it. That's only one. That, okay, fine, I followed my vachana. I kept my word. This is the only one thing done by Shalya. But till then, he fought with his full enthusiasm, with his full devotion. See, Bhishma, Drona, they did not fight wholeheartedly. Because when Pandavas, they approached Drona just before the Mahābhārata war to take blessings as a guru, to take blessings from him, he said, but Arthasya Purusho Dasaha Dasas Partho na Kasyachit. That even if I know that your point is correct, but really I'm getting salary from this Kauravas and I have been serving their families, so I am Marathi mein haat dagda khali hai. So I'm totally under their influence now. So Bhishma, Drona, They did not, even if you read this Bhishma-Parvan, Drona-Parvan, they did not fight fully, wholeheartedly. Karna, he had already given his promise to Kunti that Arjuna will be the last person that I will be fighting or killing him. He had already surrendered his Kavacha Kundala to Indra. So again, Karna's loyalty is also questioned. But Shalya, if you count Shalya's age at the period of during the Mahābhārata war, his age was nearly 80 to 90 years. So a king or an old king of 80 to 90 years old, he is fighting with this much enthusiasm. And Shalya, even all these Pandavas, they were also relatives of Shalya. But he did not think like Arjuna, oh, they are my relatives, Siddhanti Mama Gatarani, like Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter we are having, like, oh my God, these are my relatives, how can I fight with them? No, Shalya did not think like that. And again, practically speaking, Shalya, he was the captain of a sinking ship. He's a captain of a foundering ship. That ship is going to sink after some time. Everybody knows this. But still, Shalya fought. When Shalya was the charioteer of Karna asked one question to Shalya. That, what will you do if I die? What will you do? Then Shalya replied. That reply is very, very nice. He said that whatever happens, even if I have to lay down my life, I will do that. But I will fight against Pandavas till my last breath. This is what the Shalya character. And that's why I feel that he was the best commander-in-chief of Pandavas' army, or Kauravas' army. Then all these battles are happening, and finally at the end, Yudhishthira, he kills Shalya. So proper Shalyavada comes in the 16th chapter of the Mahābhārata. So in spite, but still he fought. In spite of having such kind of promises, Daivam Shaivatra Panchamam, Yudhishthira, he was successful to kill Shalya. And after the killing of Shalya, they are killing the fourth commander-in-chief of Kauravas' army. You should understand the magnitude of that victory. Of course, Pandavas were celebrating. But do you think that Kauravas have stopped the war after Shalyavada? No. Again, they started fighting with full enthusiasm. But then at this point, Duryodhana's heart became a little weak. So in the next Adhyaya, Raja Pravesha Parva, he is going to hide himself under the lake. So this is what the beginning we see right from the 17th chapter. And he is very scared. He is not ready to fight. But there's Shakuni. He stopped Duryodhana and he scolds Duryodhana that all this army of Shalya, Madra people, Madras are there. The army of Shalya, they are fighting for you. They have lost their king and they are fighting for your sake, and you're running from the battlefield. How can you do this? You go and you fight there. This is what Shakuni is very different character. Usually we say Shakuni Mama, very cunning character we see in the Mahābhārata, but this is one more character shade of Shakuni seen in this Śalya-Parvan. And of course, it's very quite obvious that Pandavas, they are going to win, and Krishna's Daivi Anshas, some indication, hint is also coming, and there Sanjay is saying, Yesham cha jagata natho nasah Krishno janardanaha katham tesham jayo nasyat yesham dharmo vyapashrayah. That those who are having the base of dharma, we will discuss this concept, base of dharma, at the end of our lecture. Like the base of dharma, and those who are having the protector or the shield or the backbone like Krishna, who will be able to defeat that truth. And of course, after listening to Shakuni scolding, Duryodhana again is ready to fight, and again Duryodhana is motivating his troops for the battle. So Duryodhana's several shades are seen in this Parvan. And Sanjay is describing Vartamane Tatha Yuddhe Ghora Rupe Bhayanake. This war is extremely becoming fearful, and your kids, your sons, that O Dhritarashtra, your sons and Pandavas, they are fighting. And Vyasa is using one term that this Yuddha is Yamarashtra Vivardhanam. Like this battle is increasing the population of Yama's kingdom. And again, Shakuni is just character we saw. Again, another set of character is seen in the Shakuni. He is telling Duryodhana that, oh Duryodhana, you do one thing. You fight with Pandavas from the what should I say? From the front, and I will attack Pandavas from the back. Usually, this is not done in the battle. But again, Shakuni, this cunning mind is see. And Arjuna is very adamant, very adamant. He's saying, Anta madhya gamishami shatrunam nishitai sharegi. Whatever happens today, I will reach the end of this war and I will kill all the Kauravas. And he is discussing this with Krishna, that hate bhishme sandadya chitram syadiha madhava nachatat krutavan mudo dharta rashtraha subalishah. Dharta rashtraha means who? Duryodhana. He is very subalisha. He is very balisha. He is very childish. Because he should have talked to us regarding the peace treaty when Bhishma was killed, when Drona was killed, when Karna was killed. And after this, he is saying that whatever it is, let it be. But when Vidura was saying before the war that, oh, you should not do this, you should not wage a war against Pandavas, he should have listened to at least Vidura. But he did not do because he is very much childish. And Pandavas, they were able to make Duryodhana Viratha. They also destroyed Duryodhana's chariot. And Pandavas were extremely bhayankar, extremely fearful. How Sanjay is telling there that, oh, to Dhritarashtra, like, oh Dhritarashtra, your soldiers became filled with fright and passed urine and excreta. This was the force or the prowess of Pandavas. And one time arrived in the battle that Krupa, Krutavarma, Ashwathama, they started asking each other, where is our king? Where is Duryodhana? And they were not able to see Duryodhana because he was hiding somewhere where Saubala was fighting. So when Duryodhana was not visible to anyone, but still everybody was fighting, and the Dhritarashtra's son, Durvimochana, Durmarshana, Jaitra, Bhuribala, Ravi, all this, the sons of Dhritarashtra were killed by our Bhima. So I'll just give a brief review that who killed whom, very briefly. Like Karnaputra Chitrasena was killed by Nakula, Sushena again by Nakula, Satyasena again by Nakula, Shalva by Satyaki, Shalya of course by Yudhishthira, Shemadhurti, Satyaki, and two secrets that I would like to take after some time. And even after this, Duryodhana was having very much vanity that, oh, whatever happens, Pandavas, they are not able to kill me. And then Krishna advises Arjuna, oh Arjuna, you have to kill this Duryodhana to pacify his vanity. And after this discussion, Shakuni and Saubala, whose ashraya was taken, whose the shelter was taken by Duryodhana, these both great soldiers of Kauravas were killed by Sahadeva in the battlefield. So, very important detail that Shakuni was killed by Sahadeva. And our Sanjay, he was also going to get about killed by Satyaki, but Vyasa appears there. He Prakata Hona, we say, he appears there and he stops Satyaki that you do not kill Sanjay, let him go. And then Sanjay, he meets Duryodhana and then he describes the entire episode to Dhritarashtra later on that we have been seeing. And then in the 28th chapter of the Mahābhārata, of the Śalya-Parvan, Duryodhana is actually entering the Radha, means what? A lake. This is a very petty situation, very much petty situation of the king, isn't it? Like, he's the king of Kauravas army, whose number was more than the Pandavas army. He has been fully routed off by the Pandavas, and he has to hide himself under a lake with the help of his Mayavi Shakti. His, I won't say divine or celestial, but it is magical powers. And the Dhritarashtra, Vidura, Gandhari, they were all getting updates of such kind of defeat by Kauravas, and they were quite somber. They were quite mournful. When Gandhari was somber, the Dhritarashtra was somber, our Vidura was somber, and they were completely they were mourning. And people who were staying in the tenants of the war tenants of the Kauravas, they were also leaving the tenants and they were running towards the Hastinapura. Several times the word Hastinapura is coming in the Mahabharata, not Hastinapura that we often use. And their mournful situation, this is not coming in the main text of the Mahabharata, but this is coming in a starred passage in the Mahabharata. But this verse is quite noteworthy, uttered by Dhritarashtra. Vandyamana swakaischapi nabhyananda sudukhitah chintayana shayam tivram bharatanam parasparam. Like Dhritarashtra is saying that for him, they are not Pandavas and they are not Kauravas. They both are Bharatas, the descendants or the Vamshajas of Bharata, and both Bharatas are killing both Bharatas, and what kind of horrible destruction is happening. So this is what a very pretty situation of Dhritarashtra after this war, or when this war is about to get ended. And after all these incidents, Krupa, Ashwathama, Kritavarma, Sanjay, they all were having this question that where is our king Duryodhana? Where is he? And nobody knows what happens or what is happening there. And Dhritarashtra is very much curious to know what happened after this episode. And he asked this question to Sanjaya, Duryodhanashta mandatma raja kim akarot tada. My mandatma, whose atma is very manda, whose atma is very dead. Okay, you don't take in the Gita sense, but who is a kind of mandatma? Duryodhana, what did he do? But I feel now there is no use of saying mandatma to Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra, he had plenty chances to stop his son, his mandatma son, but he did not say mandatma to Duryodhana at that time. But now we are seeing the effect. And now if you are lamenting, then there is no use. Yudhishthira, all Pandavas, they tried a lot for searching our Duryodhana, but of course they were not successful. Then Sanjay, he was able to find Duryodhana. He approaches that lake. That lake's name was Dvaipayana, and he approaches that lake and he tells Duryodhana that O king, you come out. We'll go to your city and then we will think what to do. But he says, no, you go back. Then Krupa, Kritavarma, Ashwatthama, they somehow they were able to find out where is our king Duryodhana. They went to the lake and they tell, just like that Bhagavad Gita, Tasmad Uttishta Bharata, like, oh Bharata king, now you come out from this lake and we'll go and we'll fight against these Pandavas. Let's see what happens. But Duryodhana gives one advice to them. This is how the Gada Yuddha, this Gada Pravesha Parva is happening. He says that you go, you also take rest, let me take rest. And we will meet tomorrow and then we will fight. This is what the conversation happened between them. And when there is a long conversation, I won't tell the each and every detail because we don't have much time. But entire long conversation happens. Okay, that how they try to convince Duryodhana for the war, and then how Duryodhana convinces. Please give me a minute. Yeah, I'm so sorry. There is some problem in the throat. I'm so sorry for this. So how they try to tell him that that you come out from the lake and we will fight, and he advises, no, I won't fight now. Let us take rest. We will meet tomorrow. But in Bhagavad Gita, I think in the 18th chapter, this verse is coming, and the end of that verse is Daivam Chaivatra Panchamam. That whatever happens, your fate is the final factor to decide your future. Because when Krupa, Ashwathama, Kritavarma and Duryodhana, when they were having this conversation, some Vyadhas, some hunters were passing through that route. And who are these hunters? They used to provide meat. They used to provide flesh to Duryodhana, to Bhima every day. So in a way, they were servants of Bhima. They heard, rather they overheard what is happening there. And of course, everybody was aware of this Mahabharata or what all the updates of the Mahabharata were. And they came to know that Duryodhana is hiding there, and they got this information, and somehow they wanted to tell this to their king, that is their Malak, their master Bhima, because their conversation is like that. We are also fed up of all this hunting and cutting flesh and giving meat. So this kind of daily wage only, no, this kind of a daily wages. So we are fed up of this. Let us do one thing. We'll give this information to Bhima, and we will get money from Bhima. So Bhima will shower so much of gold and silver onto us, and then we will be rich. So there will be no requirement of providing such kind of meat and for such kind of daily wages every day. And in the same way, they provide this information to Bhima and Pandavas. They reach the lake. Yudhishthira is extremely angry because he had already killed Shalya, and now Duryodhana, he is hiding under a lake, and he is extremely fed up and extremely angry with Duryodhana, and he is saying there, Yajyasya samare sahayyam kurute vajra bhrutsvayam tathapyenam hatam yuddhe loko drakshati madhava. O Krishna, even if vajra bhrut comes down, even if Indrakram comes down, nobody will be able to save this Duryodhana from my hands. This is what the confidence of Yudhishthira. Then Krishna suggests one thing to Yudhishthira. What is that suggestion? Like Duryodhana, he is hiding. Krishna gives this suggestion to Yudhishthira, or in a way to all Pandavas, that anyway Duryodhana is hiding himself under a lake with the help of his Maya, his magical powers. You also kill him with the help of your magical powers. I will help you. And Krishna tells there is nothing wrong in it. He gives some Puranic references. He says Hiranyakashipu versus Vishnu, Hiranyaksha versus Vishnu, Rama versus Ravana, Sundopasunda versus Vishnu. All these asuras, I know there is a big list. All these asuras were killed by devas with the help of their magical powers. So you also use this magical powers. But somehow Yudhishthira, he ignores Krishna's suggestion. Totally ignores it. He did not even react. And then Yudhishthira, he starts poking Duryodhana. And we get reminded of Bhagavad Gita. He uses the same sentences. Anarijushtam, aswargyam, akirtikaram, such kind of phrases typical like Bhagavad Gita he uses. And now you are a king, you are a Narashrestha, you are a Naravyagra, you come out from the lake, we will fight. Whatever it happens, you please do it. Okay, now because we all are Kshatriyas, we should fight against each other, and then if we get killed, we will attain Viragati, and if we win, we will get the kingdom, just like Bhagavad Gita. Hatova prapsate swargam jitvava bhokshase mahim. If you get killed, you will attain Swarga. If you win, you will get the kingdom. This is a win-win situation. So before proceeding to the other incidents and reaching the conclusion, I would like to have a short comparison. In Mahābhārata, these are three situations. Situation number 1, situation number 2, and 3. In all situations, somebody is not ready to fight, somebody convinces, and there we see a result. The first situation is the Bhagavad Gita, that in the 6th Parvan of the Mahābhārata, like Arjuna is not willing to fight, Krishna convinces him, Krishna teaches him, and Arjuna gets ready for the fight. 5 minutes before, we also see this, we saw this conversation. Duryodhana is not willing to fight. Kripa, Ashwathama, Krutavarma, they convince him, and we saw the effect. He is not ready to fight. He said, you come tomorrow, we'll take rest. In the third situation also, again Duryodhana is not willing to fight. Yudhishthira is convinced the other, he is poking him. Situations are same, but in the first situation, the learner is Arjuna, teacher is Krishna, and we have the output of Bhagavad Gita, which is very important text of Indian philosophy, and it is also considered as one of the parts of Prasthanatrayi. In the second situation, listener is Duryodhana, preacher or preachers are Krupa, Ashwathama, Krutavarma. We have seen the output, nobody is ready to fight. And in the third situation, preacher is Yudhishthira or the poker is Yudhishthira and learner is Duryodhana. We will see the output. So the situations are same, but if we just change people into it, we see different outputs. This is what Mahābhārata teaches us. The situations are always same. This is us who are going to handle the situation, and the outcome will also come like that. So Yudhishthira is poking Duryodhana, and finally Duryodhana is ready to fight. And he is saying, I'm Hataratha, I'm Hata Sarathi. How can I fight against you? And I don't have to wish for war and this anything now. Because I have lost my willingness to fight. Then again, Yudhishthira gives him options. Like two options are there. You fight and you get your kingdom, or you fight. If we kill you, you will get moksha. Then Duryodhana replies that I don't have any willingness to fight. I don't have my friends with me. I don't have my brothers with me. I don't have my landlords with me. So for whom I was fighting, nobody is there. So why there is no point of fighting? Yudhishthira, you take the land. You take the kingdom. I have no problem. Yudhishthira replies, O Duryodhana, I don't want this land like a donation. When we were asking you for 5 villages, you did not give an iota of the land. You say that the point of a needle that would cover. So that much of land you are not ready to give it to us, and now you are ready to give the entire kingdom. I don't want to take this kingdom like a donation. I want to fight against you like a Kshatriya. And Dhritarashtra is quite curious, because the middle passage is coming like my son has extremely vanity, extremely egoistic, Swabhimani. Like even if he is standing under the sun, I suppose at the 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and somebody holds an umbrella on him, that also was not pleasing Duryodhana, because he was very mani. Why should I stay under somebody's shelter? And here Yudhishthira is poking Duryodhana this much. So what was his reply? But again, Duryodhana was not ready. Then Yudhishthira, he gives another offer to Duryodhana. Here we see the pakka gambler feature of Yudhishthira. Pakka gambler. He is a truly gambler. But that's a very childish gambler. That Krishna also tells after some time. See, while studying the text, we should study with very practical approach. The Yudhishthira is very pakka gambler feature. How are we saying? Like he gives one more option, one more offer to Duryodhana, that let us do one thing. You can choose the weapon and you can choose anyone from us. 5 Pandavas are there. Even if you defeat 1 Pandava, your victory is yours. This is that kind of gamble only. And this is Duryodhana is very clever. And this is not done during the wartime. And Duryodhana is very happy. See, Duryodhana is very clever. It is possible, quite possible, that Duryodhana's skills are what? Gada Yuddha, the mace. And he would have chosen the Gada, and he would have told you, give me Nakula or Sahadeva. So I can easily defeat them, because they are not skilled at Gada Yuddha. They are having some other skills, but not skilled at the Gada Yuddha, the mace battle. And again, even if he is there, he is about to get defeated, but still his vanity is not going. Then Krishna intervenes. And he suggests that we'll do one thing. Let him choose Gada Yuddha, and Bhima, you should go. Why? Because you are skilled at Gada Yuddha. And again, he reminds Bhima about his pledge. He's saying, Tvamasya Saktini Bhantva Pratijnam Parayishyasi. Now you remember your pledge, that you had taken this pledge, that you will break his thighs and you will complete your pledge. See, that's why Krishna is called as Yogeshwara. Because every time he joins everything, he puts everything under one yoga. Here also, the situation, because of this Yudhishthira's gambling feature, the situation was going beyond control. There was no control by Pandavas. But again, Krishna, he joined everything. He put under yoga. That's why at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we are having this verse, Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. Wherever there is Yogeshwara Krishna. So Krishna has so many epithets. Why specifically Yogeshwara? This epithet is coming at them because he's truly Yogeshwara. And now battle is about to begin. Both are Bhima and Duryodhana. They are ready with their maces, their gada. And Rama comes there. Which Rama? We have three Ramas. Parshurama, Shri Rama, Balarama. Which Rama comes? Balarama. Then Janmejaya asked this question to Vaishampayan. Again, box within the box is unboxed now. The first conversation we have reached. Like why Balarama he is coming now? Just a minute. Sorry. Why Balarama is coming now? Because I would like to give one small information too. When the war had begun, Balarama, he chose himself not to get indulged in the war. And he started his Tirtha Yatra, his pilgrimages on the banks of river. He started from the Prabhasa Pattana, that is today's Dwarka, you can say. He started from Prabhasa Pattana and he completed his pilgrimage. And I was discussing this Parvan with one of the scholars. So she said that all these yatras of in the Tirtha Yatra Parvan of this Mahābhārata, the sub-Parvan of the Śalya-Parvan, these all yatras were 5-star yatras, 5-star yatras with full lavishing with all troops and everything. Because Balarama suggested Krishna that we will join Kauravas because they are having bigger army, they are going to win. But Krishna said no. Pandavas, they are our direct relatives, so we should support them in this difficult time. So Balarama decided that I will not get indulged in the war and I will go for my Tirtha Yatra. Here I find the Auchitya Bhanga. Like at the end of Radha Pravesha Parvan, our excitement is at the peak. Now they are standing in front of each other. What is going to happen? But bang, Tirtha Yatra Parvan starts. And describes the very big Tirtha Yatra Parvan that we will discuss at the end of this. In 2 minutes, we'll discuss at the end of this our lecture. But again, Janmejaya's question remains that why Balarama came. Because the connection I would like to give that when Balarama was completing the Tirtha Yatra Parvan, he was near Kurukshetra. And he was discussing some philosophical things, spiritual things with one sage. And Narada appears there. And Narada tells Balarama that your two students are going to fight against each other. Like Duryodhana and Bhima, they are the students of Balarama. Balarama taught them Gada Yuddha. Your two students are going to fight there, so you should go there, you should watch their fight. This is how Balarama appears there. And now we'll begin with our war. Bhima's anger is bursting out like volcano, and he's again and again, he's blasting at Duryodhana. Because, and before this Gada Yuddha, we see extremely beautiful Vag Yuddha, that their speech fighting is happening with each other. Duryodhana was saying something, Bhima was saying something, so that kind of Vag Yuddha we see. And Gada Yuddha begins. See, both are extremely powerful. Both are extremely powerful. And they were taking breaks and they were beginning their wars. Again, they were taking breaks. Again, they were beginning their wars. But Nantam Jagama, the war was not reaching its end. Then what to do? Then Krishna was discussing this with Arjuna. He says, Bhima Sena se dharmena yuddha mano na jeshyati anyayena tu yuddhan vai hanyat esha suyodhanam. He is saying if you follow all proper principles of Gada Yuddha, proper dharma, you won't get victory. We have to follow some dharma. And Krishna supports. You will be amazed why Krishna is willing to follow adharma. But he supports his claim and he says that sorry. Just a minute. मला गरम पाणी देशील का जरा? Yes, sir. फार गरम करू नको. Thank you. So he says Like even in the past, Maya Nirjita Devaihi, even Devas also killed Asuras with the help of their Maya. So there is nothing wrong in it. Even Devas are also following this path when we are having Apad Dharma. Not every time, but Apad Dharma. And Krishna is anyway, he is very unhappy with Yudhishthira. He is saying that Vijayashri is standing there in front of you. It was possible to kill Duryodhana. He is coming out of lake. It was easier for us to kill Duryodhana. Then Krishna, I am not getting why Yudhishthira chose this option that you take any warfare, you take any weapon, you choose anybody. So this is not good. So he is not so happy with Yudhishthira. Like, I helped you a lot and we have almost dragged the victory, but all in vain due to Yudhishthira. But then he says that something we should do so that, thank you, something we should do so that Duryodhana will be killed by Bhima. Then what happens? When Krishna was speaking like this, Arjuna gets up, he looks at Bhima. Bhima was also looking at Arjuna, and Arjuna hits his thigh with the help of his hand, and he indicates to Bhima. Usually it is said that Krishna showed this thing to Bhima, but this did not happen. If you take the critical edition of the Mahābhārata, it is there that Arjuna shows this thing to Bhima. Bhima also sees this, and Bhima hits on the thighs of the Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira, he falls down. And Vyasa describes that Yudhishthira's defeat, like he said, earth gets trembled, wind started flowing furiously, and so on and so forth. Papa Tacho Ulka, the asteroids also started falling onto the earth, and so on and so forth. And this is how Duryodhana falls down. See, this is a rule in the war that you are not supposed to hit below your navel point, below your nabi, like below the best you can say. Whatever you want to hit, you should hit only on your upper body. You are not supposed to hit on the lower body. But Bhima follows this adharma only, but every time we should remember that in adharma was performed to protect dharma. And then Bhima is furious. He's saying Gauhu iti pura manda Draupadi eka vasatam, and he reads the entire list of Duryodhana's papa krutyas. Like how you disrespected Draupadi, how you insulted her in the sabha, and so on, right from the Laksha Gruha, Varanavata, everything he mentions, and he blasts at Duryodhana. And one thing he does, like he kicks Duryodhana's head with his feet. He kicks his Duryodhana's head. This activity was not or did not please Yudhishthira and Balarama. Yudhishthira, he scolds, he shouts at Bhima. He says, no, you should not do this. Because whatever it is, at the end, he is the king. And you are also a king, and one king should respect another king. In the critical edition of the Mahābhārata also, this one picture from the manuscript is preserved. Balarama gets angry, and he takes his plow and he starts running towards Bhima to kill him. And he says this is not correct, but somehow Krishna was able to push him back, and he stops Balarama from hitting or killing Bhima. Because Balarama says this is not good, this is not dharma. Adho nabhyana hantavyam itti shastrasya nishchaya. Yuddha Shastra says that you are not supposed to hit below your waist, below your nabhi, your navel point. And he says that Kali Yuga is going to begin now. And in future, people will remember, this is what Balarama says, people will remember that Bhima was a bad warrior and Duryodhana was a good warrior. But I feel here Balarama, he is just making the hay when the sun is shining. Balarama is worshipped in several parts of India, but if you take the consider of the character in the character of the Balarama in the Mahābhārata, he is just trying to make the hay whenever the sun is shining. Because if you are really caring about dharma, you should have get indulged in the war way back. So this thing, and will not go much later. We are at the end of the war. After this, Duryodhana is not killed. He is lying down. So Bhima, he takes his blood, he drinks. This reference is also there. in the Mahabharata. And again, Duryodhana, he is crawling on his haunches. He is supporting himself somehow, and he says that, "Oh Pandavas, you defeated me by taking help of dharma, by taking the help of adharma. This is adharma. This is not a righteous thing. The same thing you did with Ashwathama, the same thing you did with Drona, the same thing you did with everyone, the same thing you did with Karna also. This is not correct. If you would have followed the Nyaya Marga, the proper righteous way, then you wouldn't be able to defeat us. We would have defeated you." Again, Krishna, again he scores Duryodhana. Like, you are listing out our dharmas, you list out your dharmas. And again the big list of Duryodhana's adharma, Krishna reads out. And he says that whatever it is, but now I am going to attend moksha. This the same point is connected with the last Parvan of the Mahabharata, Swargarohana Parvan of the Mahabharata. As you know, Yudhishthira was the person from the Pandavas who entered Swarga. And when he entered Swarga, he saw Duryodhana and he gets very angry. Like, this Duryodhana, he performed so many adharmas in his entire life, then why did he attend Swarga? Then Narada comes, I think Narada only comes in and then he tells that Duryodhana, he attended Veeramarana. He died in the battlefield. That's why he got the moksha. This point is connected there. And when Duryodhana, he falls down, the gods, the Apsaras, the Gandharvas, they started showering flowers onto Duryodhana. And Krishna also accepts. Like Kauravas, they were having great Atirathis, Maharathis, like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Ashwathama. So it was not, it was not possible for us to defeat such kind of great warriors. Wherever it was required, I helped you with the help of my Maya. But without this kind of adharmas, or we won't say adharmas, but kind of this shortcut, it was not possible for us to defeat this Kauravas. And then, if this entire Parvan is if you consider this entire Parvan as a play, then this upcoming scene can be the climax scene, very beautiful scene. The Pandavas, they have now reached their tents where they're living during the war, and everybody is now moving towards their own tent. And Krishna is sitting in the chariot. Arjuna, of course, he is behind Krishna. Krishna tells Arjuna, "You get down first. Then I will get down." Arjuna gets down. Then Krishna gets down. Now war is over. As soon as Krishna gets down, the Kapi, the monkey or the Hanuman, who is a Rudravatar, who is sitting at the top of the chariot, he gets disappeared. And then they observe the blast of that Ratha. Everybody is amazed. Like, why this blast happened? Then Krishna said that during the wartime, this chariot absorbed so many great astras, Brahma Astra, Narayana Astra, so many astras have been absorbed by this Ratha. I was there, that's why nobody could touch you, Arjuna. Nobody was able to harm you. But now the war is over, that's why there is no requirement of this chariot. Now that's why the Kapi, the Hanuman also got disappeared, and Ratha also got blasted. This is how the Daivi Ausha, the celestial feature of Krishna, is seen at the several places in the Mahabharata. And then the verse comes, Yato dharma tatah Krishno, yatah Krishno tato jayaha. And then Krishna meets, after this war, Krishna meets Gandhari to pacify her. Because everybody was aware that if we don't pacify Gandhari, then with the help of her austere penance power, her tapas teja, it was possible for Gandhari to burn the entire Triloka, all the three worlds. So Krishna meets Gandhari and he pacifies her. And Gandhari also knew, she also tells there that nobody other than Krishna can pacify you. This is the beautiful nature of Krishna. And Gandhari, she knew that she knew that this was going to be the output of this war, because I had told very back to my son during when he insulted Draupadi in the Sabha, like Shrudu Mudha Vacho Bhayyam Yato Dharma Tato Jayaha. Oh Duryodhana, oh my foolish son, you listen to my words. Yato Dharma Tato Jayaha. This thing need not, this sentence needs not an explanation. Wherever there is dharma, there is victory. And then Krishna gets intuition that Ashwatthama, he is planning something against Pandavas, so he should immediately report this to Pandavas. And then at the end of this Parvan, very pity situation is there of Duryodhana. He is still alive. Krupa, Ashwatthama and Kritavarma, again they approach Duryodhana. He is just lying down there in the forest. And how Vyasa is giving description, Vrutam Bhuta Ganair Ghoram Krauvya-daishta Samantataha. He was encircled, he was circumambulated by the Bhutaganas, by the crows, by the Gridras, or by the vultures. This is how the pity situation of such a king who was showing this much vanity throughout his lifetime. This is what the output of the adharma. And then everybody meets them. Still Duryodhana's attitude was not reduced. In Marathi way, I faced the intranslatability. Like even if person dies, unless and until that person dies, that person does not leave his attitude. Then he coronates Ashwatthama of next commander-in-chief of Kauravas army, should I say, or not, because Kauravas, they were not possessing as such army. So Duryodhana coronates Ashwatthama as the next commander-in-chief, and he says, now you go and you defeat Pandavas. And then everybody leaves. Krupa, Ashwatthama, Kritavarma, they keep Duryodhana there. Duryodhana doesn't die. He dies after, in the next Sauptika Parvan, but they leave there only Duryodhana, and such a king, he is lying there and during the night time, and this is what the end of the Duryodhana's life. Then to conclude, I would like to say, where is my sheet? I'm so sorry. Yeah. So at the end, I would like to say that the name of this Parvan is very important. Very important. Oh, before Tirthayatra Parvan, I would like to take the entire description. All these pilgrimages are there. So many stotras are there. Mahābhārata is the beehive of so many stotras. Vishnu Sahasranama, then the Bhagavad Gita, and there's so many stotras. Devi Sahasranama, Devi Stotra is also there. In this Parvan also we see Skanda Stotra and Devi Stotra. That's what we can tell about the Tirthayatra Parvan. So the name Śalya-Parvan is very important. It's extremely meaningful and significant. Why? Because Shalya means what? A wound. In Hindi we say a wound. This is what the wound, this is what the Shalya is. In whose mind? Those who got defeated, of course, but those who have won. For them also, this is a wound on. Because later on, Yudhishthira says this to Krishna, like Jayoya Majayakaro Bhagavan Pratibhasini. Oh Krishna, this victory is feel like Ajay, this victory feels like a defeat to me. So this Shalya is there in everybody's mind. In Sanskrit, the root Shala means what? Shalagatau, Shalachalane, like to go, to accompany. So this Shalya, this wound is going to accompany everyone. Those who are living in the world, like all Pandavas, they will be accompanying the Shalya throughout their life. Those who are about to leave the world, like Duryodhana, like Bhishma, you will see the lamenting of Bhishma in the Shanti Parvan. So this Shalya will be accompanied by them there. And those who have already left the world, that Shalya is also there. So in this way, the name of this Parvan is extremely important from all aspects. So I think I have exceeded some time, but I'm extremely sorry. But this is what the beauty of Śalya-Parvan is. It's not so much studied. It's very much ignored. People know about Bhishma Parvan, about this Vargarona Parvan, but Śalya-Parvan is very known to people. That's why when Surajji asked me, I decided to speak on this Śalya-Parvan.
Thank you so much, Manish ji, for the session. I'm sure your talk has inspired our participants to take up the lessons from Śalya-Parvan as well as from Mahābhārata in their lives. Now we can have a quick round of question and answer. I see there's a question in the box, but if sir wants to unmute and ask, he can go ahead.
Why does the original Sanskrit Mahābhārata by Maharishi Vyasadeva not teach in schools, colleges, universities? There are a lot of interpolations mixing in vernacular languages, and moreover, the most significant Tattva Jnana are not taught only mere stories which we have already heard more than hundreds of times and in that. Yeah, it's a need to teach Ramayana and Mahabharata in the schools, colleges, universities. That's I think, the very wonderful feature of Amrita. Like, we're having Amrita Wellness program where we teach Ramayana and Mahabharata to engineering students, to medical students, and to so many disciplines. So, of course, this is a good start, and all the universities should take it. Of course, we won't say that there are interpolations. These are different versions of Mahabharata and also the Ramayana. Like, when we cherish a text, when we enjoy a text, now such kind of text get mingled into different traditions. So I won't say that interpolations. These are the traditional versions or the folk versions of the Mahabharata. We can have one more session sometimes later on the Loka Bharata. Like, what are the folk cultures of the Mahabharata? Like, we see some lake and we say this was created by Pandavas. We see some bridge on the near this Gangotri. We see that this was created by Pandavas. So such kind of versions are there. So of course that is there, and we should enlighten our kids and other later generation with this. Thank you. So what are the key learning of this Paran according to you? Yato dharma sato jaya. Wherever is dharma, there is jaya. That is the key learning that is a takeaway from this session. Śalya-Parvan is prelude to which war or event of the Kurukshetra? That this is not actually the physical or the battle kind of war. This is a mental war, psychological war, spiritual war, social war, and so many wars. So this is more than mere physical wars.
So we hope the doubts on these questions are resolved. Thank you so much again, Manish ji, for joining us today and giving us this wonderful session.
Thank you.
I'm sure your talk has inspired our participants to take up the lessons from Śalya-Parvan as well as from Mahābhārata in their lives. Finally, but most importantly, I would like to thank all the participants for your interest in learning Mahābhārata. We are very excited for all of you who are about to take the course too. Finally, but most importantly, I offer my infinite salutations at the lotus feet of our mother, teacher, and Guru Amma, Sadguru Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, for blessing us with this unique opportunity to learn, understand, and contemplate on Mahābhārata. Now let us wind up our session with the Shanti Mantra. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you everyone. Thank you again. Namaskar.